I'm slightly freezing, but I wanted to talk to you about actually day 3 and 4 in the 7-day mindset shift that I started on the channel. I'm also doing shorter videos on my Instagram and TikTok. Sometimes these are going to be shorts, but essentially I'm giving you tools that you can do each day. You can also combine them if you want to, but you can do them each day to start to really shift your mindset a little bit. And today I'm combining two. And part of the reason is because one, the day 3, which is adding daily joys, is one that I've talked on this channel quite a bit about. But if you're new here, or if you need a refresher, if it's something you've fallen off of, I'm going to go over it again and why it's so important. And then the second one is actually starting to identify your values, paying attention to the things that matter to you. In addition to that, really listing out what's important to you. And so it'll have kind of some journal prompts or at least some things for you to think about. And that's what we're going to go over in today's video. So the first one is daily joys. So when we look at making energetic shifts in our life, which is truly what manifestation is, or if you're trying to make an identity change, that is all coming down to an energetic shift in your life, in the way that you view yourself, the identity that you hold. And you'll find that this actually then starts to have emotional reactional changes for you as well. Something that triggered you as old version of you is not going to trigger you as new version of you, because your perception of the way somebody talks to you or the way that they treat you or a certain event is just not going to affect you in that same kind of way, because it doesn't have the same kind of power over you. And even, some things you may notice just affect you differently. Like maybe you still get triggered or maybe you still get upset, but the upsetness is not as long or not as intense. You're able to handle it a little bit more. And that all comes down to your identity and the way that you're handling your emotional reactions. Something when you're doing these energetic shifts, and you'll see from multiple other teachers, one of the really big important things is gratitude and getting these feelings of gratitude. And I know when I started my journey, I kept trying to do gratitude lists and I tried to say, I'm so thankful for, and it just kind of fell flat for me. I felt like I was attempting to force or fake a feeling. And the daily joys actually got me into the feeling of gratitude without it being fake, right? Like it was an actual feeling of being gratitude in that present moment, or being grateful in the present moment, being gratitude that was being grateful in that present moment. And what it really came down to was saying, here's a list of very small things that are already available to me in my life now that provide me joy. So, a daily joy is writing out a list of things that you love. I want to go back to this real quick. So, daily joys is writing out a list of things that you enjoy to do. They're things that bring you joy. And they can be very small items. It's stuff that you already have available in your life, right? Like drinking that first cup of coffee, taking a bubble bath, taking a hot shower, doing a workout, calling a friend, um, eating a piece of pie. Like it could be really anything. And you just start a list of the things that you enjoy. And I've had people message me and they're like, oh my gosh, I totally forgot that I used to love swinging when I was a kid. And so I started doing that again and it felt amazing. Or I, used to always love playing the guitar and I spent time today actually playing the guitar and it felt absolutely amazing. And so what you do is you write this list of these joys and then you make a conscious effort to do them. You're like, I'm going to pick 1 to 5 to 10, however many you want, of things from this list, and I'm going to do them today. And don't make it too big. Make it like something small and manageable to start, because you're starting a new habit. And when you can start those new habits and you can start them small and manageable, you're actually more likely to sustain them and to continue. So definitely feel free to start small. I started really with my morning cup of coffee and being outside in the sun. I like to be outside. I like to check out the birds. I like to smell the flowers. I like to see the trees. I like to be outside. And I realized when I started this journey for myself, I was hardly spending any time outside. I was so trapped in work and housework and making sure that I had everything done. I wasn't even spending time outside. So I was like, I'm going to consciously make time in my day, even if I have to put it on my calendar. I'm going to consciously make this time to say, I'm going outside because it's something I enjoy. And I would remind myself, I'm doing this for me. I'm doing this because I love me. I'm doing this because I care about myself. And I'm doing this because it brings me joy. It brings me happiness. And I would really pay attention, and I still do, and I recommend you do when you're doing your daily joys, really pay attention to what it is that you're doing. Feel those physical sensations. Is the cup of coffee mug that you're holding, is it hot? Can you feel like the liquid going down your throat and hitting your belly? Like pay attention to those physical sensations that you have, and then also pay attention to the emotional ones. There's nothing wrong in that moment. In that moment, everything is perfect. Everything is wonderful. And so you have to remember, if you're a follower of Neville Goddard, he talks about the woman who was like, something wonderful is happening to me right now. And he also talks about dwelling in the wish fulfilled. Well, guess what you're dwelling in when you're focusing on this present moment that there's nothing wrong in? That the only thing that you're doing in that present moment is focusing on something that brings you even a tiny bit of joy and feels good for you. You're dwelling in the moment of something wonderful and good happening for you. Those are the feelings that you're starting to really bubble up. And that's the energetic kind of pulse or vibration that you're putting out, is that you have this like great thing that you're doing for yourself because you love you. And so that then increases your self concept, your concept of self. And then at this point, you're like, oh, I'm doing something for myself. And so my brother had come to me once and said, like, hey, I really am struggling. I don't even know how to feel joy at this point. Like, I don't know what things I enjoy. And he was definitely, kind of struggling with a bit of depression at the moment. And so what we looked at was saying, okay, well, one, you can always ask friends and family, what are things that you think I would enjoy doing? And I gave my brother a list of things. And sometimes you need to start doing the activity without the feeling, right? Where it's like, okay, I guess I'll do this. And then the other one is to start small enough to say, if I get up out of bed today, which some days is really, really difficult for me, but if I get up out of bed today and that's it, I just get up, that's for me. That's my daily joy. I'm going to celebrate that. I'm doing this for myself. Sorry, I'm doing this for myself. I feel good. This is for me. This is my daily joy. If you go and brush your teeth, like it feels good to brush your teeth, right? Like your mouth doesn't feel great in the morning and like, blah, blah, blah. And so it feels good to like brush your teeth. And so at that, use that as your daily joy. Like, wow, I feel so much better. Like my mouth feels refreshed and I did this for myself. I got up and I came and I brushed my teeth. So you can start on these very, very small things, but knowing that you're doing them for you. And then every day you can kind of add to that. And you can say, okay, I'm doing this stuff for me. I'm improving. I'm making a choice each day that I'm going to put some effort into this. And so that's the daily joy. And that is one of the biggest things that you can do for yourself to start to shift your mindset. And the changes are absolutely remarkable. I started this without really thinking about them being daily joys, but the things that started to kind of like roller coaster and come into my life after that, I was like, holy cow, I'm onto something here. Like, this is amazing. And I want to keep doing this because it feels good. So the other one is, and would be like day 4 in the 7 days, is to really think about what's important to you to get done on a daily basis. So I always have, 3 questions that I have people ask. One, if you knew you only had 1 year to live, what would you start doing? And I'm talking 1 year without a doubt to live. What would you start doing? If you knew you only had 1 year to live, what would you stop doing? And then the third one is, how do you want to feel when you go to bed at night? And when you have the answers to those, then throughout the day, you could start asking yourself, is my current habit, activity, routine, thought, whatever I'm doing right now, is it aligned with those 3 things? What I said I would start, stop, and how I want to feel when I go to bed. Is this aligned to it? And if it's not, what can I do now to align myself? And usually that's going to be a daily joy, right? If I'm struggling and I'm in my own mind, I can make some choices about the way that I want to think. I can either envision that the thought is like floating away. If you're able to kind of see and have these visions in your head, envision it floating away and being done. Or it can be that you are going to name your emotion and tame it. I have a lot of other videos on that content. Or it can be that you're going to physically, and or actually I should say, because you could do these and or breathing exercises, physically remove yourself from where you are, start doing something else, right? Like if I'm in the car and my mind is going like crazy and it's something I don't want to think about, I'll find a podcast I really like, maybe some upbeat music that I can like sing at the top of my lungs and really get into and have this like fantastic time while I'm in the car. And so you can make those choices, and having a plan for those is fantastic. We'll get into that more on tomorrow's. That's kind of a day 5, is creating a plan. Um, but having a plan is fantastic. But then also start to ask yourself, what is important to me to get done? When I looked at this question, I was like, okay, on a day to day basis, and being honest with myself, this isn't for anybody else, this is just for me. What do I want to get done in a day? What are the things that are important to me? And there was a few things that came up, and one was spending time with my family and quality time with my family. I've got kids, I've got a spouse. They are extremely important to me. My extended family is extremely important to me. And I want to make sure that they get the love, attention from me that I want them to feel from me. Like, I don't want them to ever question how I feel about them. And I think that they like walk on the moon. Like, they are some of the most amazing people in the world. And I want them to know that. And so each day, how am I showing up for them in a quality way? I want to make sure that I'm taking care of my body. Like, am I eating foods that make me feel good? Am I moving my body so that I feel good? I want to make sure that I'm giving my dog the love and attention that he wants, and that he's getting outside on a walk. Like, that's the highlight of his day, is going on our walks. And so for me, it's important that he gets quality time outside on walks. And then of course, like, special treats, just because I love him and he's a little bit of a potato, but we still love him. And but that's important to him, and he's important to me, and I don't want him just to sit in the house all day or only be out in our backyard. That's important to me. My own learning and development is important to me. So I want to be reading, I want to be researching, working on my business goals is important to me. So I want to make sure that I'm doing that each day. And then spiritually, I want to be refreshing myself. So those were really the key areas that was important to me. And I was like, on a daily basis, what's preventing me from doing those? And a lot of times, I'll be very honest, there's 2 big things that I still struggle with and I have to do all the time. Mindlessly scrolling my phone, which I will try to give myself an excuse that it's like, well, I'm just like researching for content to make sure that I'm having successful content. No, no, no. I'm just scrolling. And I need to be honest with myself about that. I'm just scrolling. And so that's a big one for me. I need to make sure that I'm paying attention to what I'm doing with my time, and scrolling on my phone is not one that I need to be doing all that much. And then the second one is, I struggle with inner conversations. And I've shared this on a podcast of mine. So I can very quickly get caught up in these like dramatics of my head. And I'm like, what are you doing? Like, why are you having this like mental argument? And like, none of this stuff has even happened. Like, stop it, knock it off. And I'll just talk to myself like, you silly goose. Like, what are you doing? This is not serving you. And so sit down today and really think, what are my daily joys? How can I put those into my life? How can I pay attention to them? What can I do for me? And then start asking yourself those questions. What would I start doing? What would I stop doing? How do I want to feel when I go to bed? And then add in the what's important to me to get done each day. And just be honest with yourself. One of them might be, it's important for you to go on a walk barefoot. It's important for you to call your mother. It's important for you to show up, at work or at school in a specific kind of way. It's all for you. You've got to figure out what you want in the way that you want to live your life. So I hope this was helpful. I will be back tomorrow. Definitely, it might be a short, but we'll have something, and I'll start linking these. I'll put them all in a playlist actually, so that they're easy to find. But I hope you have an absolutely beautiful day, and I will be back soon. Bye.